Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to give you a second plant tour of my indoor garden indoor plants, house plants that I have in my collection, and I will post a link to the first video that I posted about my plants, which was a collection of plants that I have in the front in an east-facing window, and this particular plant collection I have in my main south-facing window. So this is a window that I have gets really bright light, and it's kind of one of the windows that where the plants really thrive. So just wanted to give you a little tour of what my plant garden here looks like, and take you along and show you some of the plants that I have growing in this part. And let me know in comments if you have some of these plants and what you think about them. And if you really liked this video and liked watching what you're seeing and learning about these plants, do hit the like button. And it really helps me get feedback from you on how you've been liking my videos so far. And if you are interested, consider subscribing to my channel, because I post videos on a regular basis on all things plants and outdoor gardening, indoor, and everything plant related. For me, this has been a great journey to be around plants, and my real passion for plants started with indoor plants, and therefore they are very special to me and close to my heart. And it really grew from there, and my joy of outdoor gardening really stemmed from taking care of indoor plants, and just being around them made me so happy. So I just wanted to take you along and show you what these plants are. And let's start with this one here. This is my Fiddle Leaf fig plant. I absolutely love this plant. It has been in this pot for about a couple of years now. It was a real baby when I first got it, and I know these plants can be a little bit finicky to start off, and this did exactly the same. It was not doing well in the little pot it was in, and I was worried that I was going to lose it. And then I ended up repotting it in this pot and moved it to this window, and since then it has done really well. It's put on a lot of growth. It has a couple of branches, as you can see, and it's doing really well. And once it gets really tall, I will probably move it from here, but for now it can continue growing in this spot. And behind this I have a rubber plant. This is a variegated rubber plant. It's called, I think it's called Tineke, and it's really pretty. It's got a beautiful, as you can see on the leaf, it has a beautiful white and pink variegation, and I really love the leaves on this one. And this one is really happy here as well. These plants, you know, don't do so good in direct sunlight, but this has been in this light for a while, and I think it's really loving it, especially this time of the year. Lots of new growth, lots of new leaves that are about to kind of open, and I'm really excited to have this plant. And this one can grow really tall. It can grow up to 10 feet indoors, so give it lots of room once it starts growing. And for me, for now, this is still in its initial small stages, so I'm enjoying it here, and we'll see how this grows over the years, and then I will probably move it into a different spot. But for now, I like it there. Sorry, there's a lot of sunlight coming in through this window right now, and maybe it's blurring a little bit, but I still wanted to show you these plants as I'm really enjoying them in the sun right now, and I just wanted to show you what these plants are. So this one over here is my aloe plant. I love this plant as well. Aloe plants are very easy to grow and easy to also kill, because they do not like being in too much water. It's better to just have them completely dry out, and a lot of people do not provide them with a lot of sun. They do need a lot of sun, and they do need to stay dry and not too moist. And that's one of the mistakes even I as a gardener was, a plant plantaholic, as I would call myself, was doing is I was kind of killing my plants, and I realized that they don't need a lot. They just need a lot of bright light, and they need watering, but not too much watering. And I think that's something that once I started doing those things with this plant, it really started to thrive. So just wanted to share that little tip with you for this plant. So behind this is another variegated ficus. So this one is also in the same family, but it's got, as you can see, it's got more delicate leaves. It's more common. It's kind of a variation of the more common ficus, but I like this one because it has those variegated leaves, and I really like this plant here. And behind it, I have a cactus that is growing here, and I really like this one as well. I don't know if you can see it with all the bright light that's shining through, but this is a beautiful cactus as well, and I really like this plant. Again, cactus need bright light and they do not need a lot of water, so just keep that in mind if you are planning to grow cactus. That's what they're happy with. So here is another cactus that I have. This is a Zig Zag Cactus. This is another beautiful plant. I love this plant. I love the shape. I love how it looks on this window, and it's very exciting. It's very unique. And again, this one doesn't need too much water. You just let it dry out completely, and it's grown a lot since I got this one. It was a tiny baby when I first got it. So really excited to have this one. And this one also, another thing about this one is it can bloom, so it takes a few years for this one to start blooming. I think about 3 or 4 years, and the blooms are extremely fragrant, and they are quite substantial in size, and I think they are around white or pink, and they can be so the blooms on this one can be really stunning, and they only open at night, so it can really have a really beautiful smell throughout your house when this blooms. I can't wait for this one to kind of bloom at some point over the years, and I'm excited to have this in my indoor garden. I added this to my collection last year, and I'm really happy to have this plant. This other one is a succulent. I'm not sure what this one is called, but it's also enjoying the sunshine and it's doing well there. This one here is my money tree. It's also doing really well. I love this plant here. It is winter now, so I've kind of moved it closer to this window so that it can get some sunlight, and it's doing really well here as well. Behind this plant, I have another ficus. This is the regular ficus. This is the dark burgundy ficus. It's also doing well. It's putting on a new leaf, and this one here I probably will repot in the spring because I think it needs a slightly bigger, deeper pot because it is a substantial thick plant here. So that's what I'm going to plan to do with this next in the springtime. So that's one plant on my list that I need to replant as well. And this one here is a little cutting off. I think this is watermelon peperomia or something along those lines, and this one was struggling. I've put it near the window. I'm hoping that this cutting will produce more leaves and it can kind of fill out a little bit more. This one here is a philodendron birkin. So this one is also doing really well. I love the pattern on these leaves, the striping and the variegation. As you can tell, I love the variegated leaves. Looks really pretty here, and I really like it. This plant, I highly recommend. Easy to take care of, and I love the tropical looking leaves on this. This is just another spider plant that I have. It's here and it's doing well, and it's getting some sunshine. It was struggling in the spot that it was in, so I've kind of moved it near the window so it can get some light. Behind this is an Anthurium. So this one is a beautiful plant. It's also called a flamingo, I think, plant, and it is just a stunning plant. I've had this plant for a really long time, I think a few years now, and it is in continuous bloom. If you love blooms in your house and you love the color red, I highly recommend this plant. It also comes in different shades of red. There is a darker colored one as well, and then there is a pink salmony pink one as well, but I love this beautiful, gorgeous red. It's just a beautiful lipstick red, and I love the color. And it continuously blooms and puts out these big leaves, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful plant to have in your house. And the one next to it is another cactus. I think it's, I don't know what this one is called. It is a type of a euphorbia cactus, and it is a beautiful plant as well. And I will put it in the description below what this plant is called. I just can't remember right now, but it gets these beautiful salmon pink flowers, and it blooms almost non-stop. It's bloomed for me all the time, and if I zoom in, you can probably see the tiny blooms on it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful plant. If you love cactus, I would highly recommend this plant for you. It's a beautiful plant, easy to take care of, and the same rule as other cactuses: do not overwater this one, and just keep it happy with lots of light. And so here I have an orchid as well. This orchid has been really happy in this place, and it has rebloomed for me last year. And this year again, it's put out a flower stalk, as you can see. I just love seeing my orchid rebloom. It's just a beautiful feeling. It blooms with this beautiful purple orchids, and they have this white variegation on it. It's just beautiful. Like, this plant has been in this spot for I think 4 years, and it's really happy in this spot. It did not bloom the second year, but last year it bloomed, and I can see the buds now. It's also kind of starting to put out these buds now, and I think it's gonna bloom this year as well. So I'm excited about that one. And the blooms, as you know, with orchids stay for many, many weeks. So beside it, I have a colocasia plant. So this one is also happy. I put it in this big pot here, and it's, I think, doing good in this spot, and I'm hoping that it fills this large pot. And I just love the leaves on it and the tropical feeling that this adds to my indoor garden. Beside it, I have Begonia maculata. So this one is the polka dot begonia. I talked about this plant in another video. I will also add a card above to that plant and put it in the description below. This is a beautiful plant, and it has flowered for me a lot, and I think it is still trying to produce some more blooms over here. It's just a beautiful plant. I love the shape of the leaves. I love the texture, the two-tone underside. It's a beautiful plant. Beside it, I have a little house fern. This is also doing well in this spot. You know, ferns can be a little finicky to take care of, and I struggle with them a little bit, but I think what I've realized is that they do need a lot of moisture, and they do like dappled sun, and if you kind of mimic those conditions indoors, they are happier. So you know, I take with it what I get with the ferns, but I do love ferns, and I constantly keep trying with them, and you know, some of them do well, and this one is starting to green and do well in this spot. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing with this and keep it happy. So over here is my hanging plant collection. Here I have a Hoya. This is, I think, Hoya carnosa. This is extremely happy as well. As you can see, it is putting out a lot of these tendrils that I think these are the ones that produce blooms. It hasn't bloomed for me yet, but I'm hopeful that it's going to bloom one of these years. And what I've read about this plant is that it needs to be really pot bound for it to start blooming. So do not repot it often. Just let it be in the pot. If it's happy, just leave it. Really good plant. I love the foliage. I love how thick and glossy the foliage is. It looks very healthy, and it's really happy in this window. So I just love having this plant in my collection. Here I wanted to show you the other hanging plant that is on this window. This is philodendron Brazil. As you can see, it has beautiful variegated leaves, lime green, chartreuse, and dark green. And if you can see the veining, it's different on every leaf, and it's just simply a very stunning plant. I really love this plant. I love the color variation. it's really happy in this window. It's doing really well, as you can see on this window, and I just love seeing it in this hanging basket. And it is also fairly easy to take care of. It hasn't really required too much from me. It's doing well. It puts on a lot of new growth, and it's really healthy and doing well. And just keep it watered, don't overwater it. Wait till the soil is dry before you water this plant, and it's just going to reward you. It's a beautiful plant to have. I mean, if there is one plant that you want to add that trails or hangs, I would highly recommend this plant. It's a beautiful pretty plant with lots of variegation, lots of interest and uniqueness and abstract shapes on the leaves, and I just love how this plant really looks in my indoor garden. I just feel happy every time I look at this one. It's just beautiful. Down here is another silver, it's variegated Pothos as well. This one is also doing really well in this spot. It has a lot of new growth, a lot of new leaves, and it's really happy in this spot, and I love having this plant as well. And I just love what the hanging plants bring to the indoor garden. They add a lot of whimsy, they add a lot of like fun to the indoor garden, and I just love ever since I've added them, I just love the entire vibe that it creates in the indoor plant garden. And I would highly recommend hanging some of your plants and using different ways in which you can hang plants or display plants, because it adds so much interest to the indoor garden as well. And yeah, I just wanted to share these with you, and I'll move along to what else I have here on the side. So this is a prayer plant that I have as well. This one is also doing well. It has some brown spots on the leaves, but that's okay. It's probably because of some inconsistent watering on this plant, but overall it's healthy and it's happy, and I love having it in this pot. I think it looks really nice with the pattern that's on the leaves, and I just love this plant so much. Beside it, I have a Dracena. So this is also doing really well. It's growing and it's happy and healthy. It doesn't require too much care as well. It's pretty drought resistant, this plant. So if you want a plant that does well with less water, this is one of those plants that you can have, and you can water once in 2 or 3 weeks and it does okay. It may occasionally have some leaves that are kind of browning, and you can remove them, but other than that, it just is an easy plant. This is one of my top 5 plants for easy indoor plants that you can grow in your home garden. Beside it, I also have another prayer plant. I don't remember the exact name of this variety, but it's also a beautiful plant. It has like a 2-tone leaf, as you can see underneath, and it's a very interesting, pretty plant. It was struggling in another spot, so I recently repotted and moved it here, and since it's doing well, it's putting out new leaves and new growth. So really excited to see that. And some of the older leaves were struggling, and as it gets new leaves, I'm probably going to remove some of the older leaves from this plant, but for now I'm just letting it recover in this new pot, and it's doing really well. Beside it, I have a philodendron. So this one is a baby philodendron plant. I've had this one for maybe, I would say, a year and a bit, and it's doing really well. It's putting on a lot of leaves and a lot of new growth, and it's looking stunning. I love all the new fresh leaves. I mean, none of the leaves so far have the holes in it because it's a fairly young plant, but I think as it ages, it is going to get leaves that have that these holes in it. So these 2 plants in the bottom here are more mature. They are much bigger than that one, and they are stunning. I love having them. I love how they look so tropical in this spot, and I've put them on the floor, and it just lights up this corner with these big massive leaves of these Monstera plants. I love. This is another one on my list for easy plants to grow. If you want one plant that is easy to grow, I think this one would be another plant that I would say is in my top 5. And look at this new leaf that's starting to unfurl as well. I just love when I see new growth and new leaves, and they just look so pretty on the plant. So beside it, I have this plant here. I think this is called the giving plant, or Pilea plant. And this is also, I think it's also called the Chinese money plant. I'm not sure. I think that's what it's also called. It's called giving plant because it also creates all these babies at the bottom that you can kind of give to other people. You can repot and share. And it's also a sharing plant. So really pretty plant. I love how this plant looks. It's got a very nice form, very open leaves, and it's just kind of, it's chunky but yet delicate. I don't know how to explain that, but that's the vibe of this plant. It's got a very nice architectural shape, and it's overall a beautiful plant. As you can see, I've provided it with a little bit of support here because the main stem, as it was growing, was bending a little bit. So I kind of wanted to give it a little bit of support just in case if somebody was walking by here and hit it and it snaps, and I don't want that to happen to this plant. So you can see it has some new growth in the middle here as well. It's really happy. It's doing well. Low maintenance again, just needs some water. And it's in a little bit of an indirect light scenario, and it's doing really well. So beside it, I have my Pothos. This is just a regular green leaf Pothos. It doesn't have too much variegation, just slight, and it's doing really well. As you can see, it's climbing and it's happy, and it's just happy in this spot. I have given it a little bit of a support with this coconut coir pole, and it's fine. I've just wrapped it around it just so that it has that support, and it's kind of wrapped all around it, and it's kind of trailing and going and climbing upwards over there. So it's doing well. So yeah, so that is all the plants that are on the bottom shelf and on the side shelf near this big south facing window that I have. And I also wanted to show you, I do have some Christmas cactus as well that were blooming. These are doing well as well. And then I also have this plant here. This one is called a cordifolium. So this one gets these pretty pink flowers. As you can see, it's kind of trailing and getting really long. So very excited to have this plant as well. It has some dry kind of leaves that I need to clean up, but other than that, it's doing really well. Sorry, I think I dropped something there, but it's also doing really well. Have another Christmas cactus here, which is also doing really well. It's finished its blooms, and I think if I remove some of the blooms, it probably will start blooming again. Really beautiful. And over here I have another, I don't know if you can see it and with all this light, but I have another Hoya plant as well, and it has a really long, as you can see, it's putting on this really long stem that is literally almost 6 feet. Like, it keeps on going. As you can see, it's kind of a really long kind of side, like it's a shoot. I think it just kind of does that, and it's going to produce something on it. I think blooms or more leaves, but it's my first experience having this plant, and it's ginormous right now. I have another Hoya plant beside it. I don't know if you can see, but it's kind of really sunny now, and the sun is literally shining, but it's got this variegation on it, and it's a beautiful Hoya as well. Love having this plant as well in my garden. And beside it, I have another plant which is really pretty as well. I'm actually going to take it down so I can show you what these two plants look like, and give you a little bit of an up-close look on these. A closer look on this plant that I was showing you on my windowsill. This is such a beautiful plant. It is, I think, a succulent. This is the name. I won't even say it because I will probably not be able to say it in the right way. It's a capensis, Crastona capensis. And the reason why I bought this plant is because it had this picture of this beautiful bloom on it, and I just fell in love with the color combination of the purple. As you can see, it has these beautiful purple stems, and the leaves are so beautiful. And then it hasn't bloomed for me yet, but I can't wait one day that it's going to bloom these beautiful yellow flowers, and I just can't wait to see it on this plant. Maybe this summer it's going to bloom, and if it does, I will definitely share with you. But it is a beautiful, stunning plant. I've had it for a couple of years now. I got it as a birthday gift from my daughter, and I just love this plant. I love how unique it is and how beautiful the leaves are on this plant. Last few plants that I wanted to share with you before I end this video. This is the other Hoya plant that I was showing you on my windowsill. It has been really sunny, so it was really hard for me to show you this plant. I love this plant as well. It's also doing really well. I love the variegation on it, as you can see. The leaves are just beautiful. The plants are a little bit dusty, so I need to kind of dust them a little bit because they've been sitting on the windowsill. But they are healthy, they're doing well. This one is also another plant that I have, which is, I think this is a type of a Peperomia plant, and this is also extremely healthy. The leaves are very thick, so it kind of retains a lot of moisture, very easy to take care of, and obviously it's collecting a lot of dust, as you can see, but it's doing really good, and I love having these plants. I mean, they're just a beautiful texture combination and shapes, different shapes. And that's one thing I would recommend, is if you have a lot of plants, consider buying different shapes and different styles of plant, because it adds so much interest in your home garden. If you only have a few, even then it's nice to have different shapes, sizes, colors, and variegations, because it's really nice to see, because you don't really get a lot of blooms in the indoor plants, and the only way you can add a lot of interest is through leaves, through different leaves and different shapes and colors. So I think for me, that is a key to the indoor plants, is to have that interesting colors of shades of green and variegation. So this other plant that I have is also a Croton. I love this plant because, again, it has a variation in colors, and the leaves are very tropical. There's reds, there's oranges, and it comes in a lot of different colors as well. You can get some really bright ones in Croton as well, and that's also another easy house plant to have. So yeah, so with that, I kind of wanted to end this house tour of my indoor plants. This is part 2. I will put a link to part 1 in the description below and in the card above, and I hope you guys enjoyed looking at my plant collection. And I can tell you, I have few more plants, actually many more plants that I can share with you, but for today I think I'm going to end this video with some of these plants on my south facing window, and I just wanted to bring you along and show you what these plants were and what they looked like and what they're doing right now today in my garden on this sunny January cold day. It's really minus 27 outside, and I'm really happy to enjoy my indoor garden and enjoy these plants and just soak in the positivity and the vibes that they produce. And I'm really excited to share my indoor jungle with you and what these plants bring to my life, and share with you all of these beautiful plants. I hope everyone is having a fabulous day. Consider subscribing to my channel for more updates, more plant videos, more gardening videos outdoors and indoors, and just keeping in touch as a gardening community. I would love to hear from you. And if you are an indoor plant fanatic like me, let me know what your favorite plants are. And if you would like to see videos on my top 5 recommendations on plants, do let me know, because I was thinking about it. If I had to pick 5 plants that I really love, which ones would those be? And I think I know which ones I would recommend, and probably watch out for that video coming up in the future from me. And I hope this inspires you to go out there and buy a few plants and take care of them and reap the joy that they bring in your life. Thanks everyone for watching this video. Have a fabulous day, and I wish you all happiness and joy in your lives.